Today we're at Disney's Hollywood Studios to give a brutally honest ranking of every single attraction at the park, from worst to best. This one's gonna be interesting. Starting off really strong, number 12, Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. Now, do most guests not know this attraction ride is here? No, they don't. Does it matter? I don't know. How many times have you done this, Kristen?
Probably like 4, and I've hated it every single time I've done it.
Most of the time, I think for most guests, it's like oh, have you done this? Is there a line? No? Okay, let's go do it. I think it'd be really, really fun as a pre-show for a Lightning McQueen ride. I think that would be amazing, and it's great technology, and it's great. But this?
No, I love Cars. I would even go as far as saying that Cars is in like my top 3 Disney movies of all time. But I would also say that this is in my least 3 favorite attractions of all time. I mean, just look at the building. Like, does that look like a race? If they didn't have that sign on there, would you have any idea that this is Lightning McQueen? No, you wouldn't. It was just an afterthought. And I think an afterthought that shouldn't have been done. And you might be walking around Hollywood Studios and you're like, wow, every single line is so long, I don't know what to do. Lightning McQueen Racing Academy has no line, ever. And it's for a good reason. The animatronic is cool, and that's it.
Number 11, Vacation Fun. I have never done this, but it's still probably better than Lightning McQueen Racing Academy, and that's why it's ranked above that here on our YouTube countdown. We did a TikTok version of this, didn't even include it in the video. Kristen's seen it, she's got a few choice words.
I know there's going to be a lot of disagreements about this, but I have Vacation Fun at number 6. Way higher than Ryan, obviously. I have seen this before, and I think it's great. I think it's funny. It's a great break in the AC, and unlike Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy, this is something that has no line ever. It is actually good and enjoyable and funny. I love watching the Mickey shorts when I'm staying at a Disney resort, turning on the cartoon channel, and this is very similar. I think the story is great, and I think Ryan would love it if he actually saw it. Actually, he probably would not. He would not like it, but I am curious to see what he thinks, so maybe one day he'll watch it.
Number 10, Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run. Smugglers Run, how I used to love you. I actually rode this ride in 2019 over in Disneyland, like within the first month of it opening, and it was great the first time. And then every other time, 8-year-olds were piloting the ship, and that's what makes it not so great.
This is one of the few attractions that Ryan and I actually agree on the ranking at. I have this on as my number 10 as well. Not only do I not like Star Wars, I also don't like simulators. And this one here makes me a little sick. If I am looking to this, I have to look straight ahead to not get sick on this ride. So if I'm like the gunner or the engineer, I might as well just not go on because I'm not even looking at the buttons. And you have to like turn and like look at the buttons that you're hitting and stuff. If I'm a pilot, I'm like, okay, but I also don't care enough, whereas everyone else I'm always with like cares about being the pilot. So I'm always like, you guys just go. I very, very rarely ride this attraction, and for those reasons, yeah, it's kind of at the bottom of my list too.
Motion sickness is actually a thing for me on this ride as well, and normally I don't think I've ever gotten motion sick before riding Smugglers Run. So that is something to keep in mind if you haven't ridden this yet, but it's also definitely worth doing once for sure. There are 3 major positives to this ride that are good takeaways, and that is 1, there is a single rider line that you could it's usually a 5 or less minute wait to get on this ride, like from entering single rider line to getting on it. And then 2, the animatronic figure of Hondo Anaka, which you can't see from the single rider line, but you can from the regular line. That's really cool. And then number 3, which is the fact that you have photo ops in the Millennium Falcon, which is the most iconic spaceship of all time. I'm sorry, Star Trek fans, it is. And that's the big takeaway from this. I don't know, it's fun, it's good. Very dizzy, I wish there was more story to it. I wish there was different alternate things like they do on Star Tours, which we'll get to eventually, then it'd be better. But unfortunately, yeah, ranked number 10. Over here by Smugglers Run, Chewbacca is over in the corner doing a few meet and greets. He's leaving now. And I will be doing a quick quiz with Kristen about Star Wars real quick. All right, Kristen, what is Chewbacca's last name?
Baka.
I
think I'm going to know more than you think I am.
What breed of alien is he?
Oh, God,
I could give you a letter. It starts with a W.
Wookiee.
Correct.
I only know that because the Wookiee cookie.
And what planet are the Wookiees originally from?
Tatooine?
No.
Oh, what's the other one?
It only appeared in, I believe, 2 movies, and then it was in number 6.
I'm trying to think because they released all those like Spirit jerseys. There was like I know the Cloud City one.
They have a Starbucks mug that I have from this.
I don't know this one.
It's called Kashyyyk.
Yeah, there's no way I would have known that one. Do you have any more? Number 9, Alien Swirling Saucers. This is another ranking that Ryan and I both agree on. I think it can be fun. I like the music. However, it's not anything really crazy, not anything out of the ordinary. Like I could find this at the Jersey Shore Boardwalk probably, or something, a ride similar.
Now, what Alien Swirling Saucers is, we would refer to in the theme park industry, because obviously I'm a professional.
Industry professional.
Industry professional here. A flat ride. Now, what a flat ride is something that's just a cookie cutter, whatever. It takes up a little flat piece of space. It's not a roller coaster. You plop it down, you theme it to whatever you feel like theming it, and that's what this ride is, and that's probably why it ranks at where it does. And honestly, it's actually fairly high considering there are pretty much no other flat rides here at Hollywood Studios. I know this is a ride geared towards children, so it's definitely not for me, but I will say, this is a joke. It matches what a lot of Orlando locals refer to this ride as. And that would be the initials, Alien Swirling Saucers. I'll let you put that together. I don't actually think that, but I think it could use some work.
Over in Tokyo Disneyland, which hopefully we're going to soon, they have a very similar attraction to Alien Swirling Saucers, the Baymax ride, and I cannot wait to go on that. Have you seen videos of the Baymax ride?
Yes, I have.
It's like the same thing, except it looks like 100 times more fun. All of the guests, all of the cast members are so into it, clapping, dancing. It just looks like an absolute blast. And we don't have that kind of vibe here in Hollywood Studios for Alien Swirling Saucers. So, yeah, it's not the best.
One other thing, it's also one of the only rides here at Hollywood Studios that has a very short height requirement, only 32 inches. So a lot of kids can ride this one. I would hope so, mainly because it's a kid's ride, you know? Number 8, Toy Story Mania. I consider myself a little bit of a gamer myself, but it doesn't rank very high on this list, mainly because it's very hectic. There's a lot going on, and the 3D sometimes hurts my eyes. I do enjoy a good competitive game, especially here because I actually am fairly good at this ride. I don't think I've ever versed Kristen in this, but I'm pretty sure I'd beat her by like a long shot. Like honestly, there's probably no competition, even though she does rank this a lot higher than I do.
Like Ryan said, we definitely disagree about the ranking of this one because Toy Story Mania is actually my number 1, the number 1 attraction in Hollywood Studios for me. I am very competitive, so I love going on Toy Story Mania and beating the crap out of people because I would beat Ryan in this ride, in fact. And it doesn't hurt that I am also really good at it. So I rarely lose, which I don't like losing, so there's that. But yeah, I just really enjoy this ride. The only downside is that it genuinely hurts your arm. Like I have to stretch before and after riding this ride. And like this is something that I, like in theory, I could go on like so many times in a row and just have a blast, but you really can't because it really does hurt your arm. But still, I really love this ride, and I think it's just so much fun. I love going on. Should we go on? Just kidding. The line is probably like an hour and a half right now because the park is so busy.
105, I think.
I will pass.
One upside to this ride itself is that it's fully indoors, and everything else here in Toy Story Land is all outdoors, and the line has some really great air conditioning, even though you're waiting so long. And there's a cool like animatronic Mr. Potato Head. That's fun. It's a fun one. Does not rank as high as it does for Kristen, though, for me, unfortunately. We have made it here over to the backside of Midway Mania, to the Incredibles area, which actually has some really interesting history, which I do want to cover really quickly. I know this is a countdown list, but I want to show you guys something cool. So right here where you see the Edna Mode meet and greet, this is actually the backside of the show building of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and then just across the way here, is the backside of the Toy Story Mania ride itself. And this actually used to be the old entrance. I'm going to put up a photo of that right here. Not only is this super cool, but it leads to a super fun story. I was here the opening week that Toy Story Midway Mania is what it used to be called when it opened, and we waited 4.5 hours for this ride. Maybe that's part of why I don't think this ride is so great. It's a little overhyped because I did wait 4.5 hours, which kind of ruined the entire day for us. And I know that sounds, we're lucky to be here at Hollywood Studios, but 4.5 hours for this ride, come on, that's a bit much. Number 7, Muppet Vision 3D. I feel like a major reason why this ranks so middle tier of this list is that I'm not the biggest fan of sit-down 3D movies that I don't have a major childhood attachment to. We did used to ride this all the time growing up, but there is one specific scene in this ride, if you know, where a specific hairy beast comes out of one of the doors and shines a flashlight at people, and that terrified me that it actually came to life. It was like a horror film, and I think that probably stems from the Disney Channel original movie Phantom of the Megaplex. Do you know what this is? Well, Phantom of the Megaplex was a Disney Channel original movie starring Mickey Rooney. That sounds like a very, very weird statement, but the gimmick of this movie was basically a kid's version of the Scream movie franchise, this Phantom of the Megaplex who looked like this. Funny enough, this is actually a photo of me from Halloween this past year. I dressed as a Phantom of the Megaplex and nobody knew who I was. Literally, I think 2 people out of the hundreds of people who responded on my Instagram story of who am I actually got it right. I was a Phantom of the Megaplex, and that's why I feel like this, because this character, which I'm blanking on his name. Wow, I'm really embarrassed. Who's this character's name? Please let me know in the comments. Pops out during this movie scene. I pretty much peed my pants, and I was like, I don't like this. And it is Jim Henson's last work ever, last project through the Muppets that he officially worked on. So I guess that's a huge positive as well. And I guess that's a major reason why it ranks where it does here on our list of rides here at Disney's Hollywood Studios from worst to best. I think that's the official name of this video, right? We have officially reached the halfway point here at the ranking of every single ride here at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And I normally wait for the end for this, but if you've made it this far, please let me know in the comments what your ranking of Hollywood Studios rides are. I'm actually really interested in seeing if we match up or we're even close whatsoever, especially when it comes to the top 3. And you'll have to wait to see that because we're getting there. Number 6, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. There's been a lot of new rides here at Hollywood Studios since 2015-ish, and this is one of them that definitely is a great addition. I don't know if it's an upgrade though. I'm a huge fan of the original great movie ride, but Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is definitely needed, mainly because it's the first ride of Mickey and Minnie to exist in a Disney park, which is insane that it's been over 50 years since it and it didn't exist for here at Walt Disney World. The projection mapping technology has been perfected with this ride, in my opinion, and I absolutely love that they were able to keep the facade for the Chinese theater and inside mostly the same. The pre-show is really, really cool too, which I think Kristen's going to talk a little bit more about that.
Mickey and Minnie's is actually number 3 for me. I love this attraction. I remember the first time I went on during a preview, and I remember the pre-show kind of just standing to the side, and I was like, oh, we're gonna be the first ones out of here. This is the door here. And then, spoiler alert, the whole screen just explodes. I think it is one of the coolest pre-shows. The storytelling is fantastic. It's a cute ride that everyone can go on. There's no height requirement, so that is great. It's also really good because sometimes you could catch it with no line or a short line at least. Today is a very busy day in Hollywood Studios, and the queue doesn't even reach outside somehow. And I think it's very underrated. I actually like this ride more than the Great Movie Ride. Ryan might kill me for saying that, but I like Mickey and Minnie more than I like Star Wars. So that's also why it's higher than Star Wars.
I don't know if you all have noticed in this video how difficult it is to say all of these ride titles. I feel like Hollywood Studios is the one park where it's oh, let's just throw every single thing into this title. For example, Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. Why is that so long? Or Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, or Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run. Literally, if just listing the rides at this park is a novel, and I feel like I need Spark Notes. Number 5, Slinky Dog Dash. First thing I want to say about Slinky Dog Dash is that it is the perfect coaster for a first-time coaster rider, correct? Kristen, right?
Sure.
Kristen, right? That being said, it is very short, It is not as smooth as it was originally when it opened, and the line is extremely, extremely long. It does make for a really good photo op, though. Am I right? Another thing I will mention is that the line is pretty bland for Disney, especially Hollywood Studios lines. A lot of the other ones have interactive moments, and this is just it. When you're being shrunk down to a toy, there's only so many massive scale Connects sets that you could look at for the 2-hour wait that is most likely here.
I have Slinky Dog Dash at number 8. This is not my favorite attraction in the park. It is a kiddie coaster, and it's not thrilling enough for me to really enjoy that much. I mean, it's cute. I like the queue, the theming. It's all cute. It's very short and always has an ungodly wait time. People line up for this ride for like 2 hours or more. I think the line right now is like 120 minutes. And I don't know who in their right mind would wait 120 minutes for a 2-minute ride. I looked it up. It said 2 minutes. I have a feeling it's less. But yeah, not my favorite.
Not only are you waiting 2 hours in a fairly bland line, you're also doing that outside, and especially during the summer. There is no air conditioning. There are some fans pointed at the line, but that only can do so much when it is 105 degrees during the summer sometimes here in Orlando, Florida. Definitely pack some water for this one. Number 4 on our list, the Rockin roller coaster. Now this one, honestly, I think was my favorite ride at this entire park for most of my childhood. For some reason that remains to be unnamed, I have fallen out of love with Aerosmith a little bit, and it turns out they're not that big of a band as originally thought, I think, or at least this ride made me to believe. Also, this ride at this point is close to 25 years old, and it's definitely felt in those shoulder restraints. They added something to the back where your head rests that it's like a U shape that like cradles your head more, which definitely helps with the rideability of this. There's a few other changes that have been made that maybe weren't the I can't do that. Blur that out, Ryan. Just like Disney did. I don't know. Fun fact, my very first pair of drumsticks that I ever got were from the gift shop here. I don't know if I've ever shared this, but I do play drums once in a while. I have it in about 8 months.
Show us.
Show you? There you go. I play drums. But I had light up drumsticks from here that when you would hit it, they're like fiberglass, and there's a light at the base that would shoot up it was cool, but they broke right away because I hit too hard.
I have this at my number 7. Just like Ryan, I do find this ride to be very uncomfortable. On the shoulders, on the head, it's certainly lost the smoothness. Also, the last couple times I've been on this ride, nothing lights up. You know how they have the blue lights on the props and stuff? Nothing has been lighting up. Now, I don't know if that's just happening to be a thing when I go on or not, but that has been the case the last couple of times I've ridden. I also think that it is a very short ride. So I don't get down with the short rides. I feel like this coaster lasts a minute max? A minute max. There's no way it lasts even more. The beginning is really cool because you shoot off really fast. That's definitely the best part. And then you do 2 upside down loops pretty quickly into the ride, and then the rest is just kind of meh after those. With Cosmic Rewind coming to fruition at Epcot, that's a really good roller coaster that I prefer to ride over Rockin roller coaster here.
Number 3, Star Tours. For better or for worse, this has redefined what makes a great theme park attraction. I know it's one of the first screen ride simulators ever, not as critically acclaimed as Body Wars. If you know, you know. Does anybody actually know what that is? Maybe we'll cover that in a video soon. Originally, this ride had 1 story and 1 story only, and since its refurb, it's changed over in I think 2008 to 2012, something or somewhere around there. They changed it so it has customizable stories. Every single ride is going to be different, and I believe the combination of rides that you could possibly get is upwards now to 130 different, completely new stories that you could experience on Star Tours. I personally love the prequels, and they sprinkled a bunch of prequels in there. I love it. The line is great. You get to go through Endor and under an AT-AT, and guess what? It's one of the last remaining aspects of the old MGM studios, because when you go on the back side of these fake flats, you could see that it's like a movie studio type setup. Kristen, where does Star Tours end up on your list?
11.
I'm offended.
Okay. I appreciate the history of it. Michael Eisner, big Michael Eisner fans. Our whole friend group are huge Michael Eisner fans. Shout out to you. Michael, we know you are watching, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for ranking this so low, but it makes me sick. I can't do simulators, and this is like a classic simulator attraction. I can do simulators as in like Flight of Passage and Soarin', but this is just like straight up simulator. And it makes me a little sick. I usually don't go on. If I do and my friends convince me, I close my eyes the entire time, but I prefer to just sit at Baseline Tap House while my friends go on this.
Another thing, they have a guest interactive type portion to this ride, but it's not too much. It's not as much as like Smugglers Run, where like people are driving and controlling the whole thing, but also there's a Rebel spy on board. I've never been because I am too old and I look too much like a dad at this point to ever be a Rebel spy, but I still have hope in my heart that I could be featured on the big screen one day, just like I am on your probably tiny phone screens while you're on your lunch break, and I appreciate you for watching. Number 2, Rise of the Resistance. Rise of the Resistance ranks so high on my list, not only because... Can you shut up? Maybe we can't film this close here. Okay, let's move over this way. Rise of the Resistance ranks so high on my list, not only because it's such an innovative ride itself, but it actually does hold up a lot after the initial opening. I know a lot of the effects in the ride don't work all the time, but when it comes to the pre-shows, it works so much better than other rides that have opened in the past 10 years, maybe at other parks where the pre-shows are very lagging and very monotonous, and here just like it has such a dynamic range. I love Star Wars so much, even though I don't like that this ride itself is placed between episodes 6 and 7 or 7 and 8. It's hard to tell though, because Kylo Ren is wearing the helmet, and technically in those movies he's not wearing a helmet. But I still do love Star Wars so much, and it's so good, and there's a and I don't know.
Don't tell him, it's a surprise.
I'll have to bleep that out. It's very worthy of ranking number 2 on my list, and I don't mind Kristen's ranking, which is number...
Rise of the Resistance is ranked at number 4 on my list. Partly because I'm not like the biggest Star Wars fan. Not the biggest. I do not like Star Wars at all. I still think the ride is amazing. It's like state of the art. It's awesome. But yes, I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt. ShopLBV.com. Gotta get that plug. But I still think the ride is pretty awesome. I actually really love all the pre-shows. It does a good job with like the storytelling, and even though I don't know the movies, I can still easily follow the storyline of the ride. So number 4 for me.
One of my favorite things about this ride is that going on with people who've never been on before is probably more enjoyable than going on it like even for the first or second time I was on it in the first place, because I get to see people's reactions, them not knowing exactly what's going to happen, them getting on the transport and thinking, oh, this is the ride, when it's not the ride. Oh, and of course the drop. I never tell people about the drop other than, I know, I'm sorry. Especially if I'm with somebody who's like, I don't want to go on a Tower of Terror, I hate drops. I'm like, okay, well, let's do Rise. And then I just take them on that. It's a little one, but it's still fun. I don't know. Definitely worthy of rank number 2, but onward to number 1, guys. This is it. This is the end all be all for me. And last but not least, number 1, Walt Disney presents. Just kidding, it's Tower of Terror. The Tower of Terror. Personally, I think this is probably the best combination of storytelling and thrill experience at all of Disney World, like, period. Maybe not my all-time favorite ride at all of Disney World. That would probably have to go to the People Mover. Tower of Terror was one of my very first, like, thrill rides. One ride where I was like, I'm not going on this, I'm not going on this. And then I went on it, and guess what? I got one of the shirts. I survived. Ow. I think Roosevelt should make a Tower of Terror I Survived shirt. Make it happen. Unlike the one over in California. Actually, California, I may have even ridden before I rode the one here. This one does move forward throughout the actual after the first elevator shaft, you go to a second one by moving forward. And there is a little bit of story told outside of that one long hallway scene. I love the Tower of Terror so much, and I feel like a lot of people agree that being one of the most solid rides here at this park. If you like thrills, then yes.
I have Tower of Terror at number 2, and Ryan made a really funny joke about taking a number 2, dropping in a number 2 at Tower of Terror on TikTok. So make sure you go to his TikTok and watch that video. See what I did there?
That was a good one. Thank you.
You're welcome. I really enjoy this ride, especially when I go on and when I'm dropping, I lift my feet up for even more of a thrill, and I like fly out of my seat. It's so much fun. Of course, being buckled in as well. I know that was like a trend for a little bit, but that would be crazy. But yeah, lift your feet up when you're going down, and it is just like so much fun. You just fly out of your seat. And I also love just like the storytelling. I appreciate the queue a lot. So you could tell like how much thought went into this ride, and I really appreciate it and enjoy this ride.
Well, that was it for us today here at Disney's Hollywood Studios. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this countdown video. Like I said in the middle of the video, let me know your lists. Seriously, I do want to know, and I will be replying to every single comment, at least for the first week here on this video here on YouTube. If you're a longtime supporter of the channel, new viewer, or just a pity viewer to click on the video to give me a view, I appreciate you regardless. Thank you so much, and we will see you guys real soon, okay? Bye.